Hello, everybody. It's Jordan.
And Josh.
We're here. We're excited. We're going to announce, listen to how audio is, by the way. I've moved the mic a little bit for a two-person setup. If we have to, we can put on headsets, but it's just a lot easier if we don't have to deal with that. So, welcome back, Ryan, Mohammed, everybody else. Saw a lot of people joining early. Excited to have you all here. This is going to be a good one. Am I using the MacBook? I think I'm using this one.
No, that might be.
I think it's just got the clipping on, but let me double check. Let me double check. Yeah, I think that's the right one. If I get closer, does it sound like this is the microphone?
Digit 4.1, the ASMR release.
Is the mic bad? Oh, no.
So
Well, we might have to switch. Okay, that's fine. Grab that.
Oh. Hate these things.
How do
Wait, hold up. Which way does it go again? That way.
Yeah, it's not the way that you think it would.
No.
You got the easier one. I got the thing. All right, so hold on. Let me. So let's try this again. Apologies for the mic kerfuffle. I tested levels, but I didn't actually listen to the audio quality. So let me go. That looks like that's okay.
Yeah,
so is it still? This one's
gosh,
worse?
No worse. So much better. I don't know if mine is better. I just started talking.
Okay, beautiful. All right. I see the problem actually, and I think I can probably have fixed it and gone back to the other one, but we'll just stick with these.
Oh man.
You want to try the other one again? Hold on.
Yeah, I like the other. This one I feel like I have to hold my breath.
All right. So is that better? Can y'all hear us now? Is it clipping still?
Does it sound awful?
You could put headphones in. Actually, yeah. Wait for. I don't remember. Ooh, I don't remember this.
Better.
Is it better? It's okay. Good. All right. We don't need this.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
I have to wear these for live secret.
You know, it reminds me of like stage like Billy Ray Cyrus or like them like wearing like a big old like
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Awfully specific. All right. With
My
that,
favorite pop artist.
with
All right.
that, let's get back to the good stuff. So okay. Oh look, hold on. We got a little camera. Yeah, there we go. We still get minius. Oh, I can actually move us to cover my cheat sheet because actually this right here is where all the notes go. The metadata in is audio not in sync. It should be. It looks like, yeah, it's pretty good. On my side, it looks like it's pretty close, unless YouTube's doing something weird with it.
Just gonna listen to my phone real fast. Don't want me.
Yeah. And we'll hear ourselves. We'll loop back.
No,
All right.
I'm just gonna make it quiet. Hold it.
So, first things first. If you are a ARM Linux user, we now have a full version of Binja released for ARM Linux. So, you can already get it now if you have a dev access to dev, which is every customer with support. In fact, when you get the download links now, if you use the dev reset on the license recovery, so right here, if you recover your license, you can choose the dev build instead of stable. You'll actually just get the ARM Linux installer as well, and so it's kind of boring because it's Binja. It's Binja, and I can open up things. And the not boring part is it's much faster than doing any virtualization or emulation. If you're on a Mac in particular, for example, if you want to have a Linux VM to do like something in, you can now get it faster. So yeah, so Remco, there you go. For those of you that were excited about that, that is live. It's again the next stable. If you're not a current customer, if you're just using the devs or the free version. The next stable release day, which I mentioned in the notes, but I haven't yet said it yet on stream, is power off my VM before. This machine has like very little memory, so I have to be stingy with memory usage. The next actual release date is going to be, if I reload this page, July 17th. So that's the plan for when it will be out as the stable. So the free, the demo, all that kind of stuff will be updated with the Linux ARM on that date as well. But in the meantime, all our current customers can go check it out. Easy peasy. Number 2, Decompiler Improvements. So this one is pretty exciting. This has been like Rusty's kind of last, I guess, month maybe he's been working on it. And I think I even showed it on a previous stream a little bit, but he continues to crank away on it. This is getting really close to landing on dev. Um, this is the CTF binary that he's been testing with, and I think small alk is the most obvious one. Yeah, so you can see here, the most noticeable improvements are going to be in functions with like a lot of nested conditionals, like when you get like really, it's a good example, like and not or.
Enormously.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of, let's see, I think there was one in this particular file that was not great. But I think just in general, seeing like this nesting depth super deep is the key. And you'll notice there's this if else and this big block when it should just be an early return here. Like there's probably an earlier, if this return was the original code. So if we open that same file, but we do it with options, I gotta close this one down. And we open it with options, I think we can specify our, oh, right, no, I can't do it here. This is not on dev yet, which is why, that's fine, I'll leave it up on this one. Actually, it's good to compare to, so then we'll go grab the Elysium release, Decompiler Improvements test branch. So you can see right here of all the stuff that I'm gonna demo, these are the 4 things that are still on test branches. So 4 of the, I guess, 11 total things that we'll be showing are not yet on dev, but they will be in the next week too. I forget the exact deadline.
2 weeks.
So some of them sooner, some of them probably closer to the end there. So let's try it again. So now if I open with options, you can see that there's a new setting called control flow resolution strategy, which is basically like, what is the technique we're going to be using for that? We also have a really long blog post with a lot of details coming out about this.
Yeah.
It's great.
Ooh, really cool blog post.
Watch, actually. I can tease people with it too, I think.
Oh, no. Jordan, don't do it to people.
I can do it. I can do it. Look at this. No. See? This is the goodness you'll be getting here. This date is notional. We'll be updating it with some more stuff coming. But there's a whole blog with a lot more details coming out. But in the meantime, let's just get a quick look at it. And so if we open this file with the graph transformation options set, we'll get the newer one. And so remember that, like, that small alloc function. Yeah. There it is. We can see that early return. We don't have like, let me put it over on the side of the window here. I'm missing my window management hotkeys. I guess that's coming in the next Mac OS. So at some point we'll get that. But so right, you just count the gray bars, which I think you had the clickiness of it, didn't you? Or was that Glenn? It was one of the two of you, or so you could like click it and highlight it.
Oh, that was Glenn.
Yeah, but you can now see. So this is like 5 levels of nesting deep. The structure is
it goes up to 2.
Vastly simplified here. Yeah.
So based on one of the academic approaches, it's based on a couple academic approaches, and then Rusty sitting and thinking for a bit.
It's actually closer to the RevNG's approach than we realized at the time. So he implemented it kind of independently.
Yeah.
But it does turn out to, it uses somewhat of an approach similar to that too. So instead of duplicating conditions, it duplicates code. I guess that's the sort of short summary. But
yeah, I mean, the blog post will have the full like breakdown of the logic behind it. But
yeah, the bottom line is just so much cleaner. Like if you were trying to read this and understand it, like the cognitive load of tracking your nesting depth versus just being able to read this. And notice these are both the same database. So we did add like one type here. You can see that there was an array created here, so they have the same type information, they have the same sort of information, but yeah, it allows it to just be super clean. And so he's actually got some other metrics too, in terms of he's not only validating them for correctness, so this is not only more accurate and more sound.
Yeah, there are a lot of bug fixes.
It turned out, yeah. So what he actually, like, what he did was he basically fuzzed. We're giving away the blog. It's fine. This is for the family here on the stream here. So, he actually basically created a fuzzer that would produce lots of weird control flow, and then evaluated them on correctness relative to how the lifting was transforming them, so that if we did an unsound transformation, if we modified it in some way that it was no longer accurate and correct, we could detect that. And then he found a lot of bugs because he was running literally a fuzzer.
He was running the worst cases.
Yeah, and they're not things that compilers ever produce most of the
Yeah.
time. And so, in fact, a bunch of them are good test cases that break other tools now. So.
Oh yeah.
They're
No, he came back. We tested all of them across. You know,
Yeah.
like versus Ghidra. He came back and he's like, bad news, guys. We're down like 14% on Ghidra. Next day he comes back and he's like, we're 99.96% success.
Yeah. So like the out of the box measurements were bad, and now it's all, you know. So again, this is just on control flow restructuring. So specifically like dealing with weird control flows. So yeah, blog will be out with a lot more details. Remco, this will absolutely be in the free version. I think everything we demo except one.
Yeah, that was back for the ARM release, and I think you already answered that.
Yeah, I mean ARM. Oh, sorry, the ARM release is not there yet, but it will be.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah, exactly. So. Cool. So that is the there's a couple other little ones too here. So this one is on dev, but was not in the last stable. So actually I should have compared this to the previous stable. So there's like plus equal syntax is something else that you can see is improved. There's also even just some, not only the restructuring, but also some Boolean simplification. So if you had like not something and something, it could just be something or something.
Yeah, we did a lot of bitwise simplification too.
So there's a bunch of like improvements in the in that just generally should make things a lot cleaner. And again, that sort of plus equals
Plus equals
minus
so good
equals
for
minus
it's
equals.
such like a small change.
Just a little
It's so nice.
a little thing. And kind of while we're here, this is actually a little later section, but you'll notice these both also have these new white spaces. So this is different. Yeah, I should just actually bring up which one is let's bring up the old 4.0 instead.
5336 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's do that one. In binge enter. This is like nothing. I only have like 7 or 8 binges in this. Well, plus these 4.
I think Glenn is to Binary Ninja 51 or something.
I have 28 on my box. I counted recently.
I just have 4 that I delete a bunch.
Yeah, I do keep yes. Yeah, the firmware there. Yeah, in fact, actually, we have some changes to the blog post because Zion gave us some feedback. So thank you for the early review, Zion. Rusty hadn't actually really evaluated it heavily, but
it just kind of ended up that there's a fair amount of like overlap between thought processes.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar problems. All right, so where are we going? Once and for all, here we go. So this is the true comparison. Wait, is this 4.0?
Yeah, that's 4.0.
Why does it have the new lines?
New lines were always 1, I think.
No, the white space edition I thought was new. Wait,
You can change the amount.
I thought that was I'm hallucinating.
Search scope.
Scope.
Because it's around scope. Yeah, new lines around scope.
Modified by user.
It's there.
The default.
Oh,
that's
the default.
It was. It used to be. So watch. Let me reopen this. The default did get changed. So this one. Yes.
Yeah,
this used to be the default.
I forgot it used to look so cramped.
We did change this, right? And so now, notice the scope, it's still going to be, now the default is 1. So it's not a user setting anymore. So I had changed that as a user setting at some point to make it look better.
Honestly, fair.
This is actually what it looks like now.
Yeah. God, it looks
so look at this. Yeah, look at
Why
this.
did it take us so long to do that?
Look at this. Well, but even this also really shows off the conditional
simplification
too.
Yeah.
Right? So the other one had actually some of these changes, not all of them. So it didn't have like the graph resolution implementation, but it did have some of the Boolean simplification. We got the allocated equals allocated plus 1. Yeah, this is the comparison we want.
Wait.
Right?
Yeah, we didn't even pick up indices. Wow.
So
I didn't realize how big of a release this was. Hold up.
Yeah, this one was dramatically different. Obviously, some of those indexing, there's some other
indexing is broken places.
Also got fixed. That's totally just a bug fix that we don't even have specifically highlighted. But right, this was 4.0. This is going to be 4.1 basically. It just looks night and day better. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's it on the Decompiler Improvement section. Yeah, the white space. Oh, there was one other change in here too. Like Windows FS base and GS base got typed by default. I think. Let me see.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, there was a file. Is it one of the other sections? No, it's right. It was the Win32 x86. Oh, and actually, Peter, I think had an offset for me. Thank you, Peter. So here's another one we're gonna compare.
What a nice feature of Enterprise to have notes.
Isn't it nice in Enterprise that we can do
Who
this?
made that?
Yeah. Somebody with good design chops. Actually, it's just kill both of our sidebars. Do them side by side.
It's the first time anyone's ever said I have good design chops.
We're not talking about Labor Nap, okay? Just let's not. We're not going to talk about Bruno. Okay. So this is another one that Peter was looking at. That's in Win32. Is this? What is the file? It's just Win32.
Yeah.
Is it a
2x86 DLL?
What is that actually a DLL for? It's not a Windows.
It's one of our test binaries, just like a random compile DLL.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it actually represents. So in this case,
Oh, we have result renaming. That's kind of nice.
yeah. Let's see. This was in stable. So yeah, we've got the white space.
Typing of FS space. Is this the right offset?
This is not the FS base. This was something else that Peter specifically said.
Okay.
Oh, I think it was around these right here. I'm looking at the top. It's around this one right here. This one doesn't look as different, other than being result. I don't see the control flow change. Oh wait, hold on. Did I not? I may not have changed the graph.
Oh, because you did open with options for the other one.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, I don't see it as being different because it's not Jordan. All right. Well, good. Now we'll really be able to. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's a little
Okay.
better.
So I see it as being a little different now. It's a little improved. That is, yeah, dramatically improved, right? So again, that's the kind of stuff that we're seeing with. Wow, that is. What happened there? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't even see. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'd still like to lift that dref result OXC into its own variable, but like, I'd say it's only 20 times better, instead of 21.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's very clean. All right, so now we can go look for FS base too, right? So FS base, we should just be able to type text
Will
search.
strategy taken be in the blog post? Yeah, the strategy taken is going to be described in the blog post pretty in depth with graph examples. Follow along. I check to make sure the graphs are accurate.
Yep. So here's another one. So SCRT acquire startup lock before and after. So you've got the types of the tab and pep. We had them in the type libraries, I think, in 4.0. They just weren't being automatically applied to FSBase when it was used. So much cleaner there.
Remco asking if we can have a different icon for prod and dev.
Did Remco know?
No.
Do you know? Yeah, we actually do. It's in testing.
Yeah, we've had discussions about what the icon should be, and oh gosh. I don't even have icons, so I can't give input.
Yeah, you're window manager. So right now on a test branch, there is already actually, it's not even on test branch. It's just on dev. I think you just only notice it's.
No, I don't think it's enabled. Like I think it got reverted.
Yeah, that's right. I think I pulled a test build and tried it. So we're currently experimenting. Glenn did an initial rollout of different icons. Like the color in the background changed basically.
Internal dev build should have a stuck-out tongue for the Binja.
That's good.
That's really funny. Actually.
Oh, there's the other one with the little pink bow on it too. The little emoji one with like the bow. Pretty cute.
Test build should just have a little like dunce cap.
Or a little like demon horns or something like
propeller hat.
Yeah. Only on April 1st.
But yeah, we will.
Yeah, we want to have something
similar will be coming out soon.
Yeah, some visual indicator between those. What we're trying to debate too is, do we do different versions of the product and different channels, or both, or one or the other? And so like that's the only thing that's holding us up. But it's a good question.
Graph theory enjoyers agreed.
Yeah. So very cool. Yeah, good suggestion, Remco. I love it when we hear things are like, yes.
It's like, hey, can y'all do this? And we're like,
already in testing.
The thonking version of the Binja logo.
All right, we're only on step 3 of 11 things here.
Oh gosh.
This is going to be so let's see. Let's kill 4.0. Let's kill and again, you already saw some of these decompiler improvements are already on dev, right? So the plus equals, some of the Boolean simplification, some of that stuff is already there. The white space things. It's really only the control flow restructuring with that new technique. That's the one that's taking a little longer because there's obviously a lot of like testing we need to do on that one, but it will be coming shortly. All right, so let's go back to dev. I think dev is up. Yeah, dev's up for the next couple. Okay, so the next couple of features we've got are UEFI, obviously we had some improved UEFI support even on 4.0, we showcased last time, but that continues to improve. In fact, there's even a few more things that are probably not going to make it into 4.1, but that are in progress as well. So you can see well, actually, you could if I moved myself. There. Benji's sunglasses. He has sunglasses. He's already got glasses on.
Yeah, those actually aren't his eyes. Those are sunglasses.
Is the technique novel? I don't know that the technique is particularly novel
not
necessarily.
Totally novel,
Yeah.
but it is
in aggregate, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the.
Yeah. It's definitely modified, understood techniques from what I understand. That being said, I haven't read all the papers.
Yeah.
And I didn't implement it, so that's a Rusty question.
Right. I think it was again. I think Rusty, like I said, accidentally recreated a technique that was from the RevNG folks. So again, we hadn't read that particular paper, and somebody else pointed out, like, "Oh, you're just doing what they're doing." And we're like, "Oh, cool!"
Yeah.
Like after we read the blog, so we've updated the blog to give credit, but it wasn't like we read that particular paper and then decided to go implement that technique. It was really developed similar problem, similar situation, and then came up with a similar solution.
So. Accidentally calculus again.
Yeah, it turns out limits and yeah, exactly. So, okay, well now you can see my cheat sheet. Yeah, basically there's been a ton of changes in the UEFI support, some of which is just in the core of the types and like how if we open files up. So I think it's if we start with like the TE files. So TE are a modified PE, those are a custom header. And so now we actually have a different EFI platform, and we're parsing both UEFI, TE formats. I don't even know what the differences are. I just know that there's differences.
It's more terse.
It's a terse executable format. Yeah, it's not so portable though. Maybe a little less portable, but it's very terse. So that's not supported. So if you're doing a lot of UEFI stuff, you'll notice that there. See, oh, it's a PEI module. I really should have had Brandon come and explain all this.
Yeah,
he's been on before.
I don't know UEFI.
And then yeah, so the other one too is the UEFI resolver. The plugin is in the plugin manager is still being maintained. At some point, we might roll all of its functionality into the core, but this will add in, do a bunch of GUID matching and add in the types. There's also some work to make it extensible. So people have asked, like, well, if I want to add my own GUIDs, how can I do that? So we're already actually pulling in now the Binarly's EFI Explorer has a submodule that is their GUID database. The only problem is their GUID database just has a GUID and a name. It has no type information. And so one of the things that we make sure to, so for example, if we open up this PE32, I don't even know what this one is. Actually, go to the entry point. No, it's entry point. Also start.
Yeah, $start.
The start is at the header. That doesn't seem right. What am I missing? Hold on.
I mean, $star is image base.
Yes, $star is not what I wanted. Under start, just the symbol is what I wanted. Okay, so here is the out of the box experience. But then if you run EFI Resolver, this is the database where we've just already run EFI Resolver on it. And now you can see we've actually got the EFI types being added to it, the image handle, the system table. And so those get propagated as well to like other functions. So you see a whole bunch of type information like protocol lookups and whatnot that you would not have had before. So if I like to copy that address, for example, wait, I'm switching between Mac and Windows hotkeys to do it.
Name data variables too at offset.
Yeah, it will both name and it actually might be the default variable naming stuff based on parameters too. Now, where you will, if there's a parameter name, the variable name will pick it up. That was a 4.0 feature, I think Rusty did. So yeah, it really some nice improvements there, and we're continuing to make the EFI resolver a little more flexible. So you can add your own type information to that. We've also added a bunch of platform types for both PEI and SMM. I'm told those are things with UEFI. I don't know a whole lot about them. But yeah, and so the way that you did that, to get the same thing, basically, you would run this, you would install the EFI resolver, and then you would trigger installed. You would trigger like the plugin EFI resolver. I think I have to open a new tab and do it again.
Man palette. Search EFI.
Yeah. Resolve EFI protocols. And there it goes. You can see it adding and propagating. So that's the way to reproduce that. Didn't even need the database for that one. Yeah, so that's just so much cleaner. Let me see. Am I missing anything else in my cheat sheets? Oh yeah, we can see like an SMM one, for example, if we look at XE98. So this is EFI MRAM. Okay, pool.
Do you have to be in the BNDB?
It should be the same. They should be actually the same right now.
Oh, okay.
I think
it was based.
Was it? Interesting.
I'm here to keep you on track. I'm just distracting you now.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. Wait, I thought I ran on that one. Oh, I may not have run the other one. There's I think there's another action maybe that was taken on it, but yeah, I'm not seeing MM system table. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right there. It's right there for line below. So this is actually a good example where the same address actually shows up in multiple places because of how the lifting happens. So it's actually this one right here. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's yeah, that's being propagated now because we didn't have in 4.0, we didn't have the SMM system types. So that's all new. And we could also see, yeah, here,
SMM.
yeah, MM locate protocol. So again, some more lookups, which is cool. That is not great though. That one doesn't look right.
It might.
Then again, it's EFI, so maybe who knows? Could be cool. And we can actually look again at the platform types, so you can actually see all of the types that were loaded as a result of that. And so that's the big difference. The problem with the binary GUID database is it's just string names. You don't get any type information. And so we're trying to figure out a way to kind of get the best of both. We want to be able to have types where we've got them, but if you don't, we should still, we do, I think, now fall back on their GUID database. So that's another option. Yep. So
what if you go to EFI MM system in type view and then open cross references? Going off script.
Oh
yeah. All the SMM.
There we go. So you find all your SMM instantly. Yep. And more importantly, you can see the actual GUIDs right there too for all of them.
Yeah. Added benefit of actually typing things is type cross references.
Type cross references are super nice. Yeah. Especially when you don't have to manually apply all those types when the tool's able to do it for you. So, okay,
cool.
That is EFI, EFI, TE, PEI, SMM,
REI,
all the new. No, I think that's the outdoor store. Maybe.
Really? That seems pretty portable then.
Yeah.
No,
it's really exceptionally introverted. So that's UEFI.
It doesn't support shared libraries, only static.
Let me make sure I'm on dev. I am. Okay, so base. I've already demoed base. We'll show it again briefly if you haven't caught it before. I love base. It's such a cool feature. When you load a file that doesn't have segments or sections, like there's no actual memory mappings yet, it's just one flat segment here, you get this option. What's changed since last time, though, is pull up notes in case I'm missing anything. I don't think there's yeah. Brandon, thank you, by the way. Good notes. But what changed is that before you had to be only in the files that didn't have like a PE or Mako or whatever would it show up in, but now it shows up on the mapped view on any of them. Oh. So even if you have like somebody had, for example, a PE file that was like technically a PE, but it was like there was a separate loader that would map into memory in different places, so you wanted to be able to rebase it. Okay. And it wasn't done based on the PE format or the memory mappings in there. It was done on like something totally different. And so,
like if you were looking at Tricore or something.
I don't think we do that later. But does it actually do?
Oh, it does curse things.
Like a PE.
But if we're talking about that later, we'll talk about it later.
will at least show it. So so now you get the triage view base address detection or base feature, not to be confused with based pointers.
Yes.
Which are different. Based pointers are a thing, but that's different. But the base, BASE, is the base address detection engine, I think. Anyway, you can now trigger that. This file name is so wide that it goes like off the edge. That's what I get for using an enterprise. Actually, you know what? This should be make a
Oh, that
note.
should resolve, actually.
The triage view should actually use the proper project name because it totally has that info. So you can see we've got the scores. These are all the indicators for this particular file, which was just a U-boot image, I believe. And we can see like the different base addresses for each of them and sort of like how many of these indicators, like string function data, that cause the system to think one of those might be a. And obviously we have a clear winner. This one seems like the most obvious. So and it also looks like the cleanest, roundest number too. So all the trust there. So anyways, we rebased it, set it there. We can save our database. Now we've got, let's go poke around and look, see how things look. We've got a lot of cross references. We've got strings. We've got a lot of stuff that we wouldn't have. Yeah, return result. A lot of that variable naming stuff. So okay, that's super nice. Okay.
Oh, that big functional. Oh, I'm not gonna say it. The big functional looks so good in the
new one. All the nested depth.
Strategy.
I know. I'm half tempted to go pull it up.
No, we can't.
We get nerd sniped very easily.
The script is very loose word.
Yeah, there's notes.
There's steps.
Cool. Yeah, I think that was it for that one. So there's some UI improvements that have happened that I think are really cool. Exactly, polar base pointers. Oh yeah, cool, Memer. Yeah, exactly. So Memer says that they've seen where that like the file format basically lied or was wrong. And you want to remap it, so you still want to be able to apply it. Yeah, that was something we observed. So that's why you can now. What you might have to it'll load when you first open the file. Like for example, if I open a PE file, it will by default load into PE view, and so if I go to triage, you won't see that option. But if you switch it over to the raw view, then you've got it. So you can still get to mapped or raw views. Both of those will still give you access to that UI. So which makes sense because most of the time you're like now
you default, don't kick back to raw.
You don't want it for most default binary views, but it's still there. So it's a little discoverability we got to figure out in the documentation. Actually, I think we still have an open issue to add UI documentation for triage itself, and that will include the base stuff.
Oh, but you did PE resources to that too. Let me write that down.
Oh, that's right, because you do have PE resource. Was that added on this dev? Or was that on 4.0?
Oh, I think that was this dev.
Do we forget to? Hey, we have another feature.
Look, I've done a lot of.
Is it where do we get to them? It might be in this file, like literally.
I mean, it should just be in this file. Go to memory map.
Memory map.
Doesn't look like it does.
No, this one doesn't. I bet I have some other ones. Let me look real quick.
No, Jordan.
No, totally get sidetracked. All right, well, somebody else, you can look and put one in the server if you want. We could pull up in a second. I'm trying to move my chat box. Unfortunately, the chat preview window that I've got on my side is like. Josh has got it. That's what he's here for. Okay. So there was our.
You're to forget features and read chat, and I'm all out of features. I think I forgot.
Bubblegum. Yeah. Okay. So okay. Bunch of really cool stuff though has also landed, and again, these are last ones are on dev. So all the UEFI stuff is on dev. The base feature is on dev. Oh, there is one other one too. Let's go back to that U-boot image, right? So we've got the U-boot image. We pull it up in Triage summary. We detect an address. We say yes. We want its address. Not to say how big is that. I'm curious how big the file is. Anyway, start the full analysis. We've got it in, and so now we've got some memory mappings, right? So these things got mapped into memory. But what if I have some other data that was mapped into memory? This is something that people have been asking for a long time, especially a lot of firmware embedded. There's a new API called the Memory Map API. It's going to actually enable some of the debugger stuff we're going to look at later. But you can also notice it via this. You can say load file at address, and you can literally just make up any address and give a file, and then it'll map it into the memory space, add a new segment, put the file, put the data there, which is really useful for a lot of firmware slicing and dicing. You can also do bv.memorymap and there's a whole API you can access it.
I didn't know about the UI integration for that. That's
yeah,
really
the load
nice.
file. What we need to do, what isn't yet done though, is the right click. So that's coming before the stable, I believe.
Like
It's
add
like
segment
add
file.
exactly, or a little some other option in this view where you'll be able to like add the file, like just add file, load file, and address or whatever. So yeah, that's a nice feature. And again, there's several other things that are using that behind the scenes. So it's quite nice. Even the Firmware Ninja demos that we showed off last time.
Smells like work done for the container multi-file stuff. Maybe baby steps in the direction.
It was, yes, it was also the in that direction. There's still a lot more to be done there.
A lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah, that's a big feature. We're looking forward to it as well. So yeah, that was the memory map API. We've also got several, there's no specific binaries here, but there's a lot of new UI features that I think are really cool. So if, for example, I go back to, say, this once and for all database, and I've got my structure, what if I decide that, no, actually that array is, there's another element to that array, and it's just, add some other field to it, right? Okay, so now I've added that. Now there's probably no references to it because it's the wrong size, so it won't really matter. But then I also want to rename. This is smaller Alec, and I want to add a comment and just make some changes, right? So down on the right, and you did this one as well.
Oh, I was like, what are you getting at?
Did you know where I was going?
No, I didn't.
It's your feature, yeah. So this is the UI. You want to talk about your feature?
Yeah. So people have been asking for a while how you can see what's been done on database, and we didn't really have a good answer for it. Well, we have this entire undo system, which going through, we keep track of everything. So now you have time-stamped undo entries. Timestamps are off by default because it was a little cluttered in my opinion. But you can turn on.
I must have turned on.
Yeah.
Seems.
I can make it default even. And then in here, if you undo in like normal view, so just like hit undo a few times, you'll see your like little marker line goes
white
up.
line goes up.
Yeah, and the ones below get kind of faded out.
Yeah.
And
I
then
can redo
you
there.
Yeah, you can even go all the way up and like redo or undo all the way up.
What I want to point out too is notice the timestamps, right? This is a database I opened up before these changes were made. They could have been made before the feature even existed.
Yeah.
Right? Because the data has always been there. We've been saying for a while, like, oh,
we have 2018.
We have like every database you've made for the last 6 years in Binary Ninja, you have all this undo history. We finally just have it exposed where you can actually see it much more easily here.
You can save databases and prune undo history.
Right.
If you're sharing it with someone you don't want, like you wrote a comment in there with your social security number, you can get rid of it.
One, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Two,
that's
save
how
with options.
But
you save your password manager is your Binary Ninja databases.
Yeah, I only have one program on my computer.
Binary Ninja.
Yeah, I have YouTube chat open in Binger right now.
You start working at Vector 5 and we make you uninstall everything else.
Polar bits. First, hi, nice to meet you. So, sorry, PI. Second, undo trees when. I wanted to make undo trees. I really do.
Yeah.
Undo trees are complicated, and displaying them nicely is even more complicated. But I'm not ruling it out. But I'm also not promising it.
Yeah. Yeah. We got this for now. So it's still super nice. And I love the descriptions of it. I was super happy with like the clean, like plain English description. That's actually nice.
Like 3 years ago now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So undo history. We also have already mentioned it was a setting that already existed. We just changed the default. This sort of add white space around control flow blocks. That was already in there. We just have changed the default from 0 to 1. Everyone's like, wait, why is that not the default? That looks better.
Yep.
So that's another change that we've made. And then if you actually go to our blog, just a few minutes before, I'm going to close that one down. That's the sneak peek. I don't want to sneak any more of the blog. Just a few minutes before we go live here, we put up this blog post here from, actually let's do it on the other side so we're not behind our faces. Glenn wrote this up for the feature and Alex helped put it together. So this is a really, really nice new feature. You may have already seen it. Again, this one's on dev and it's live, but you might not have known it was there because it can be kind of subtle. This column here that shows your addresses is now really flexible. So you can actually change a lot of these. I think I actually may have shown this one on stream, some of these. The address display submenu here. There's a lot of things you can do with it. We have plenty of features to cover, so we're going to keep going. You've got the blog. Go check out the blog. You can see a whole lot more detail, but it's really nice. I will mention that it's also available in the stack view. And one of the things in particular is nice here is if you happen to have, say, a buffer overflow at some offset, you can double click right there and sort of repin the offset, which is really nifty, right? So now you can see all your addresses relative to that thing, or you can pick it up here, or you can choose to
be register based.
Yeah, yep.
And that's real nice.
And to do it there, so you can hard code it anyway. So there's a lot of stuff there. Go check out the blog. It covers it in way more detail, but I think it's super nice. The only thing I haven't figured out is like how do we that one's a little subtle.
Double click. I didn't know double click could do it.
Yeah. So I don't know how we can. One thing we've debated is if we add a context menu that says set base offset here or rebase offset on this location, and then we could have return as a hint, because we can't have double click in the action system. You don't get that, but you'll do notice that I think there was another spot where I noticed that the navigate to address or something where enter did a thing shows up in the context menu, right, as like return. And so you could make it so that if you hit return,
navigate to matching brace might do that even.
It might, yeah. Let's see. Does enter work? Only if enter is default hotkey. Anyway, the idea is that might help people make it more. If you realize that return will like just do it just by clicking and hitting enter, you might be more likely to double click it. So anyway, that's John, I'm glad you're excited by that one. I think that's gonna be useful. So I think that's it. History. We've got the new address display set. Again, you can do all that to kind of change what it's based on by a whole bunch of things over here as well.
If you're ever like normal, like me, I copy the address out and then I pop it into like some Python lambda I made to calculate the offset. You can just set it now and skip a couple steps. Yeah, if you're working in GDB or WinDB or something. In fact, even one of the exact formats is like literally lets you set it based on like you can make it. I don't remember where that is. Like it's offset plus decimal
value.
Which is what GDB expects.
Which is the exact format that GDB has. I think so. That's one of the. I think is it just from segment start? No, it's one of them. I don't remember the details. Go read the blog. I guarantee you it's in the blog. It'll give you all the details. So, all right. Actually, reset that back before I. Oh, actually, that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's
choose
a decimal.
The chosen one, then you could choose all the settings. Well, good. We answered your own question. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. So we've long said that we need to do a better job with iOS. We've got a list of things that we're working on. I am very pleased though that some of them are landing on this release. We're not calling this like the iOS release. We still know there's a lot of like stuff, particularly around the shared cache, the kernel cache. There's some lifting bugs that, for kernel in particular.
Unimplemented instructions.
Exactly, unimplemented instructions that we need to be handled. So there's a list of stuff. We're tracking it, but we are making several bits of important progress. So that's.
Do not click that button.
Don't. I think I've already.
You're on a test build.
I went to go click the enterprise. I'm not on an enterprise build, so this one's not an enterprise one. So I'm just gonna pull the. Thankfully, I can pull it right over here. So here, for example, is macOS 14 calculator app. And you'll notice that on 4.0, if I go back to, let me go find a 4.0 install real quick. If you're familiar with our Objective-C plugin, which really has it's super useful. If you just opened a file, you did not get any of that prettiness that we just saw, right, on 4.0. You could, if you knew it was there, you could actually click the file, open with options, scroll to the bottom of the list, find the workflows, enable workflows, and then turn on the Objective-C workflow, and then you would get some of that behavior. So like it's been there, it's been a workflow that you can enable, but it's now just automatic. So you get the results of the Objective-C workflow. I've switched back to make sure I'm on the right one. So and notice I'm on a test branch. However, that particular feature is actually just on dev. So even right now on dev, if you open up any any Objective-C file, it will just automatically run a lot of what used to be required to run the workflow to Git. So there's also been a whole bunch of changes to the workflow itself. It's fixed a whole bunch of bugs and or features. So for example, let's look in here. You can see all of the symbols we've got, all the brackets there. We're extracting out Objective-C classes, I think, or something like that. I don't know the Objective-C functions. I don't know any Objective-C at all. But we should get all like those message sends with proper. Oh, actually, I think we. Let's see. Is it? Let me see. I don't remember if we. Let's see. Where was it? It was iOS improvements. Yeah, this one I have to be real careful. I'm not going to open this one on stream because as I discovered earlier, it's a 100 megabyte Objective-C file, and this machine has 8 gigs of RAM.
Use the x86 64-bit, Kat says.
Use the x86 64. Oh, the slice of it. So open with options on it, and then so I can still use open with options to control. Yeah, this one. So the ARM. Oh, and by the way, that was one of the other changes I think too. Ooh, there we go. Oh, good. I'm glad Kat's here. She can correct me when I get things wrong. Yeah, so you can see all of the all that stuff we get now correctly automatically, which is a super big improvement. I think I'm most excited just for how discoverable it's going to be now. I think there's probably a lot of people that if it doesn't just kind of open, they wouldn't have known it. But then, there's a bunch of other changes as well that are coming. So this was I think was there something about adding other platforms support? I thought there was something with, yes, there is. Well, I thought there was RV7 and Thumb 2, right. So that one's later on I've got my cheat sheet. But if we actually open up the RV7 one, this is something that wouldn't have worked for the Objective-C support before. Prior to the latest changes that are on dev. So yeah, that's also in there. So there's better platform support. All right. There's new CF string rendering. So let's go back to that. Let's go back here. Actually, no. CF strings are going to render like here.
Go to NS decimal number calculator addition.
Okay, yeah, let me actually follow my notes here.
Yep.
Okay, so let's start over. I'll just stop jumping around. So an Objective-C function has the brackets. Workflow is automatically enabled. All right, let's actually open the correct file. I'll stop just randomly doing stuff, Cat. I'll do the right thing. So we're going to open with options. Oh, and there's other options? I didn't know this. So I tested the files, but I didn't look. Oh, so right, we're just showing that it's automatically enabled, right? Yeah, the fact that you'll notice that this setting can be globally off, but it gets turned on by the view itself. You can also override it here if you didn't want it to run for some reason. You could do that there, but that was what I had you do mainly before. Whereas now it's automatic. So yeah, we already showed the kind of the before and after there. It's a pretty big difference. There were a lot of errors before, bugs and error handling that got fixed. So the plugin's a lot more robust.
Any binaries that don't match exactly what we expect, we actually handle more gracefully.
If you look, in fact, at the changelog, if you're on a this is the stable one, it's gonna show it there. But if you're on a dev branch of Binja, and you look in the changelog, so you do get our sort of internal commit messages.
Back up to Mako setting, you can disable structural as well.
Oh, okay. So let's go back here. With options.
Mako setting.
Mako. Oh yeah, so you can choose to process the metadata, process functions, table. Yeah, so there's a couple of new settings in there.
So it actually knows that it can apply to this file and then throws its settings in, I guess.
Oh, did this got added this release too, I think, by the way, the table view on the sections and segments?
Oh.
Was that in 4.0?
I think that was a couple months ago.
Was it in 4.0? Yeah. Easy enough to check. No, I'm getting... Oh, it was. Okay, all right. Got too excited.
I think that was Brian.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. All right. Oh, I do remember that one now. Okay, so we can open that one back up, and we were looking at the change log. That's what we were looking at. So I'm gonna go back to dev. Yeah, if you have a license, you're on the dev build, you can actually see the commit messages. And the one here on there's actually a ton of notes on the Objective-C changes just in the commit messages. So again, this will be all in our blog at the release, which will have a lot more details. We can see a ton of issues. All these issues got closed out. I think we hit a cap on number of notifications the GitHub Slack integration will give you for how many issues were closed with a single commit, because this like fixed a ton of feature requests and bug fixes on Objective-C. So let's see. Yeah, the types should look better too. So let's go back to ours. And again, so actually I don't know. I can probably look through here, but again, a lot of these changes are just on dev, and then some of these changes are just only on this test branch. And I don't remember exactly which ones are which, but again, everything that you're seeing on the stream will be on dev before we're done with the stable, so it'll be landed. In fact, before the feature freeze, which is in like a week and a half, or I think so, week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. Cool. So it's worth highlighting independently. We auto inline stubs. Oh, so are those Objective-C function
So like
stubs?
outlines message sent stubs, I think.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because it used to automatically inline. Or is it the way
No,
around?
I think it would just jump to like an opaque sub, whatever it was stub, and now it actually pulls out the
We'll see it. We'll
the
see
message
it correctly. All right, so let's try the calculator one. Let's do some more
I think Kat can
comparisons.
correct me if I'm wrong there. That's just my understanding from like 2 screenshots she posted earlier.
Let's go look at this. It's the iOS / Objective-C, obviously, right? So what was I looking at? I was looking at macOS 14. macOS 14. Open with options. So even if we, oh, this one does have. Okay, so this one we did do the open with options on. You know what I really want, by the way? Feature request that would really be just for me. I want to be able to like link cross-process. I want to be able to scroll to an offset in like an old version of Binja. I know, it's just useful for me. So it would make my life easier. So
Just a
what is this one?
named Piper FIFO.
797. No, that's not the same offset. So let's see here. Is this the same file?
Oh, you might be in a different architecture.
I almost certainly am in this different architecture.
Yeah.
Because this is
those are different.
And this is, we'll do the x64 one. All right, let's close that one down. Open with options, and we're going to specify the x64 slice. Okay. And let's. Yeah, so again, this is one where I used open with options, and I loaded the Objective-C plug workflow, even on 4.0. Sorry, not 4.0. This one's a dev one, but it doesn't have the test branch changes, so we can see even more improvements coming. A ton of, yeah. How is it getting? Yeah, I'm curious. It's just better type information. Don't know, but it's looking good. Yeah, so a lot of improvements coming along there. Cool. All right. So number 7 is done. Ooh, is a good one. Okay, number 8. These are all good ones. Like, that's the thing. This is a very, very strong. We were worried actually at the beginning of this release. We're like, are we gonna have any features?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think someone mentioned like this is a pretty light release, isn't it? And everyone's just like, oh,
like what are you?
My Binja mug.
What are you talking about? Yeah. There's a lot of. Okay, so back on dev. Let's go into our project. We can check out our. Oh, I always got to remember to do the recent projects. It's so much better on the new start tab. I always go to the browser. So got everything else. Type library improvements. Okay, so this one is super fun. I think this is for some people going to be the most noticeable improvement that they see in Binja, except for maybe some of the decompiler, like the formatting and kind of some of the visual stuff. One of the things that we've really lacked for a long time is sort of like a default libc. Like if we didn't specifically ship a libc compiled for your exact architecture and platform, Ubuntu 2204, 2404, 2410, whatever, version that you had, if we didn't have an exact matching libc for that, sorry, you got nothing. So what we have now implemented, you can see it over here, is under the, oh wait, this is not going to show up, right? This is an example of it not working. Good, I need that up. Okay, I need that there. Here is the test branch where it actually lives on. This one is also on a test branch being kind of reviewed before it gets landed, but let's open that same file. So if we look at the types right now on latest dev or unstable, you can see we've got a VA list platform type, the system types, which are just the like PE types essentially from parsing the, or not PE, the ELF header rather, ELF types. And then there's no user types because we just opened it. So there's like no type information. So if I go find exit or free or main or any of these, like there is no type information whatsoever. Like maybe we demangled some stuff and we pulled out some type information, but the actual like libc imports, nada, nothing. So we can actually find all of, actually, yeah, this is one of my favorite tricks. I mentioned this before. Is just go select multiple APIs here, and you can see all the cross references to all those functions. So this is what it looks like currently. And on the new one, where we have now this fallback library, we have like a sort of like a generic libc. It's a libc that will be applied. So if I come back to this one,
that's really nice.
10D60. 1060, and if I select the same amount of things, for example, I mean, where is it? So you can see already, like we've actually got type information. So obviously, if there's like any format string ones, so let's go find a format string.
Oh, choose the hardest
right?
ones.
Yeah, man, let's go straight for it. It's just pref check. Oh, that was a bad choice, Jordan. I don't know what's up with that one. Is that the only one? No, I think there's another one. Let's just go look at the decompilation. Make sure I'm on the.
But even look at free, like.
Yeah, it actually has a void pointer.
Yes.
Well, actually,
one that we actually all know.
Scanf was a better example. I already had Scanf, right? So if we look at all the Scanf ones, right? Like I know that it's a var args now, and so if I didn't have that. Well, the heuristic actually got it. It doesn't always, though.
I mean, the actual definition scanf, like you might get right at some call sites, but you're not going to be able to get right everywhere.
You're gonna
without type info.
Yep. And so, like, you can sometimes get lucky, which is why, like, it works okay to some degree. But if you don't know the names or parameters,
it definitely files off a lot of sharp edges.
Yeah.
Now.
And again, it's worth pointing out this is a RISC-V binary here, which we don't yet ship a standard libc on. So this is a good one to test on. There's a couple of other architectures and platforms and whatnot, so you should see a lot less bugs with random format strings, just because now you should be able to like match and apply a sort of fallback is the name of that feature. So the fallback libc should be really, really useful. Again, you can see read right here, right? We've actually got FD buff count, that type information. So that I think is super, super useful.
And we do use, there was a question in chat. We do use a confidence system for applying types, especially at call sites, with user being authoritative, and then we have like a big hierarchy of other things as you kind of trickle down to more and more heuristic and less data-based analysis.
Yeah, so I could, for example, at this location, I could override the call type at this one call. I could, as a user, like select the function itself and hit Y and make it not that. Default. And then now that's the correct answer. And so, it's like, no, he said there's only one parameter, even though it's clearly wrong.
But then anywhere you overrode it, it'll still be the same because you're the user. You said both these things. So you're right both times.
More specific. Yeah, it's like CSS a little bit, right? Like more specific one wins. And user and higher confidence. All user changes are by default high confidence. At some point, we may expose UIs or make it possible for you to be like, I'm making a change, but I really don't know, like low confidence.
Yeah, that's been like a low priority idea for a while now.
Yeah, not super important.
But if anyone wants it, let your voice be heard, and we'll push it up the list.
Let us know. But so Daniel, the type libs the fallback system doesn't ruin analysis. It will almost universally make it better, because if you just let the heuristic system try to guess how many parameters a function has versus like, no, it actually has this type and this parameters, it's generally going to be like significantly better.
Yeah,
So
and
it
type
should.
libs have confidence somewhere in the middle. I forget.
Yeah, there's also that too. But I don't even think you need it for the most part. Just in general, having a typed library. The only issue would be if you had a really weird platform with like a libc that was
Yeah, like a non-standard libc.
that actually had different type information. Like it
But
might
at
do the
that
wrong thing
point,
at that point.
I mean, at that point, it might even still be better because you'd get at least some params and be able to be like, oh, no, it just has these two parameters swapped or something.
Maybe we were actually just talking earlier, and Alex commented that our default parameter recovery has gotten so good that already we have a couple of really old type libraries that haven't been updated in a while that we should just remove because either this feature or the other one are actually going to be better, even though they were type libraries created
That's
specifically
pretty
for a
funny.
platform. So we actually just filed an issue literally to go back and really evaluate and test all of our current type libraries and be like, do we actually need this anymore, or is the new fallback actually just a superset and therefore, get rid of it? So that's something we'll be testing during the next little bit. So yeah, that one's a super nice one. What else? Right, new architectures. So we have a new architecture. I think this is our Tricore platform, which if you know Tricore, then maybe you can read this, but you'll notice it's just a decompilation, right? So this is Binja doing its thing on a custom platform.
Every time I see nested if else, I'm just like, oh, the new resolver.
I know this would go away, just go away. I know, I'm excited. It's gonna be better. And this not equal and equal and
Yeah, that'll get simplified so much.
guarantee that'll be better. Yeah, all that stuff's gonna get cleaned up. So that should be great. And as the notes actually here have some extra information, so you can see control flow disassembly. There are a few things not yet done for Tricore, accumulating instructions, packed instructions, and floating point. So that was still kind of in progress. Probably going to make Tricore, much like we have Nanomips, as sort of a separate paid plugin. We may bundle it with like the two of them together, do like a separate paid bundle. We're still kind of figuring that out. So it's still kind of in progress exactly what that's going to look like. But if you're interested, if Tricore is important to you, especially if you have a big budget, you should let us know.
Shameless.
I mean, listen, I don't shamelessly shill very often, so I should do it a little bit. One other thing to mention, and this is so the MD1 file format. I actually don't have, for example, the Nanomips plugin installed on this box, and so I'm not actually going to get disassembly. But you can already see though that we still have file format support. So this is a Nanomips MD1 ROM file, but there are actually some other ones. So like there's PowerPC will get put in MD1 ROM files. So I'm told. I think they're often used in basebands. So we have support for the file format just in Binja. It support's just added. So if you have like a PPC one, that'll work. Or if you have some of our customers that have bought the Nanomips architecture, would get like the core has just this support, and so you actually get your MD1 ROM parsing done, but they would also get the disassembly, lifting and decompilation. So yeah, I didn't actually I triggered a build and I could go grab the we've already shown Nanomips, so y'all already seen that. We have Nanomips support in the last release, but I didn't put that one in there. So the debugger. Okay, so I mentioned earlier the memory map API is being it's enabling a few other features. One of them was we saw that we could like load a new file at an offset. That's great. Firmware Ninja, which we demoed on stream before, it takes advantage of it to like automatically extract and load blobs, different addresses. The debugger really benefits a ton, and this is super nice. So this one unfortunately is also on a test branch. So let me go grab that one. This is our last test branch one. All right, so in the debugger, if I open, where is it? Actually, I was going to open the file that's here separately, just so it's not be in the project. Let's just open Hello World. So we've got a Hello World, and I want to debug it. I think this one I already marked executable, which was the important bit. So if I run, yes, I want to debug. You can step. It's the debugger. I can also add a comment, right? And if people have done this before, if you've used the debugger, you may have lost data. And that's because the previous version of Binary Ninja didn't have raw Mach-O, it had raw Mach-O and debugger. It actually had a separate view just for when you were in the debugger, so that you could like go to like arbitrary memory offsets that were backed by the debugger and not like, you notice the memory map got like huge, right? The actual files here, there's a bunch of other bits of memory. We've got all the other debugger modules, like I can literally look at the list of modules, where they're loaded into memory. But this is all thanks to that new memory map API. It basically is a layering approach. And so we can have the binary view for the file that you've loaded and analyzed and whatever you've done with it. And that stays the same. It used to be like this one-off kind of copy. It was kind of a hacky solution that was just temporary. And so if you made any changes to that debugger view, as soon as you stopped debugging, those changes were gone. You lost all your structures you had created. You lost all that information because it was associated with this sort of ephemeral view, and that was obviously bad, right? That was pretty unfortunate. And so this new revamp of the debugger, you notice again, it has just one view, just the Mach-O view. It's not on dev yet because there's some issues still around getting it working with rebasing and making sure that works smoothly. But this particular binary doesn't need to be rebased. The base address is where it loads at. So you notice I can make this comment, and now if I just stop debugging,
Ooh.
Nothing changed. Yeah, we're done. Like, oh wait, nice. Yeah, that's it. And so like that comment is still there. I can save my database and I actually get a BNDB with the change that I made. It's still all there. So super useful if you've been using the debugger. That should make a pretty big difference. Because again, before you could just manually switch over to the actual Mach-O view, but then again, that wouldn't be where the debugger was showing you where you were executing and would register. Like it wouldn't have had all the same information as the debugger view. So that's a pretty huge improvement on the debugger. Let me go read my script to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Oh, right.
Oh.
I did miss it. See, this is why I checked my notes. Let me go ahead and rerun this again. So let's run it. And we can step a couple times. We're good. And then if we look at actually, so there's the stack view. This is the Binary Ninja stack view where we showed the new offset addresses that can be changed. But there's also the debugger stack view. Is it this one? I don't remember the exact. No, that's the. There it is. It's a stack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell. So that's the stack trace. I think there's an actual stack view to those.
Command palette.
Yeah, should probably just do that. Problem is, I won't be able to tell the difference between.
Create stack view. I think that's it.
Is it creates? Yeah, it probably is. Yes. It creates a stack view. So this is the actual stack pointer. And where the stack is. I think you get even data variables if you use stack operations as you step through it. Oh, I stepped into. Let's step out of. Step over. Or maybe let's see where's. Oh yeah, so you can see the address here. Interesting.
That's just the top line address.
Does it always do that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I've never noticed that. So I think this is this in the stack view? I'm a little. Let me see. Make sure my notes are.
Create stack view.
Create stack view. So that was right. Oh, it's in the debugger menu too. Debugger.
Create stack view. Yep. Oh, there's also jump to IP. Make a override IP. That's cool.
Yeah, if you want to change, I think you can also even override IP. You can go to like IP and you can. You have to like show it. If it wasn't used. Yeah, it's just PC. There we go. I think you can. Yeah, you can edit it there too. So you do it that way as well. But you can also just do it directly. So, yeah, that's. Oh, interesting. Wait a minute. Where's that preview? That one showed like the line of the stack view. The tooltip showed the line separate in stack view. I'm not sure why it's not showing up in that linear view though. Anyway, that's the debugger changes. I think that's it. Any questions? An arrow pointing to the address for the current SP and stack view. I thought it did that. I know for a fact it does do that in. No, there's an arrow here.
Yeah.
An instruction pointer. I thought there is also that in the stack view.
Is that where the stack is?
I thought it was in there.
830. Yeah, that's where the stack is.
Is that SP? Is it not? That's a little annoying.
No, it's SP.
Oh, it's SP right there. Is PC in there too and I just missed it? No, just SP.
No.
Right there. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it showed that. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to ask Shusheng. I don't use the debugger actually very much. Oh, what one more thing.
Another thing.
One more thing.
More thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. We should do one more thing. I'm gonna actually kick you out.
Cool. I have no idea what the one more thing is, so
It's
I get to watch it.
It's Sidekick. It's Sidekick. Okay.
I'll go find your sidekick, should I?
Yeah. Go ahead and let Tim know we're ready for him. We'll bring him in. Give me a second here, everybody. We're gonna shuffle around. We're gonna unplug a laptop. So I'm gonna put you on the temporary hold. Be right back screen. I don't think it's gonna be huge, but I think it's super cool. So I'm excited by it. We'll see what y'all think. We'll be back in just 30 seconds. And we're back. Hopefully y'all can hear us still. I think so. Let me close the door. No, door's closed. I'm blind. I'm back with Tim, who some of you may remember from our 4.0 release, who was our lead developer on Sidekick. And he showed off some stuff just not that long ago to the rest of the company. And we were like, oh, we got to show everybody else. This is too cool. So we've got a demo of Sidekick. I think, did we decide this is 2.0 is going to be the next one? Is that for sure? Is it still? Beautiful. So this will be coming out in Sidekick 2.0. We thought it is a major enough feature and a pretty cool quality of life improvement. Just a new capability that I haven't seen, not only like for us, but just in general. I don't think I've seen something like this. So I'm pretty excited by it. If you want to take us away and tell us what we're looking at.
Sure. So I'm gonna start very simple and then introduce more complexity along the way. So definitely feel free to ask questions. We'll be watching the chat, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Might have a chat. You get to drive, and I'll tell it.
Okay.
I'll say what chat's doing.
Very good. All right. So the focus of the feature that I'm going to show for you is incorporating large language models into the binary analysis in a new way. So what we're going to show is a multi-tiered approach where we use language models to write analysis scripts, where we use language models to prompt or program other language models, and then we execute yet another tier of language models to perform the analysis and provide the results back to the scripts that were written. So it's there's a lot of machinery that's involved, but we'll take a peek at some of these details, and this is very fresh, so we're going to approach this demo in a conservative way. So but hopefully you'll get a clear picture of what it's capable of and where we're going.
And we'll be back too as we get closer to releasing it. We'll come back and we'll do a longer, more detailed thing. This is just kind of an early look, and yeah, I'm excited by it.
Great. So where we start in the center of the user interface for this feature is in this bottom sidebar, which is titled the Intelligent Analysis Console. And what we have listed here are various scripts that have been written and, as you can see, executed in the recent past. So this is a searchable list of scripts. So let me just talk about this as a user working with this feature. You're going to have a collection of scripts that you're going to come back to over and over again, but you're also going to be creating new scripts on the fly for new tasks that you're going to be doing. So and so you want to be able to search that. So we'll search this, and we have this hello world script, and with a little short command enter, we can run that, and you can see it updating the log over there, and so that script is running. But we double click on it, and now we get this little editing interface for editing the script. We can run it here as well. And
this part's like a better snippets, really. Like I think that we could almost replace snippets, like the searchability, that it really feels like a superset of the feature snippets has.
Yeah, it does have a lot of overlap, but we're going to see some exciting stuff hopefully here pretty soon. So but just to get you familiar with this interface, walk through a couple of things. So when you're running a script, you can have a little progress bar for your script. There's actually a history of revisions.
Snippets does not do that. Yeah.
Yeah, for the edits that you make, not only the edits that you make, but the edits that the intelligent assistant is going to make for you. Also on this front screen, kind of hidden behind this hamburger menu, is a way to see all the scripts that have been executed. So if we were to run something here, it's going to be running. We get this little status update.
There's text progress too.
Yeah, so you get a start and finish and so forth. So that's just a very basic introduction to what you are going to be seeing. So now let's go into something a little bit more interesting. So let's see. We'll go into here. Oh, sorry, just a little bit of that.
Yeah, we changed screen resolutions just before we plugged in, so we might have some slight window rearrangement to do.
Okay, let me actually just jump in this way. So when you're working with this, you can look for pre-existing scripts, but you don't really have to. You can just type in anything, and I didn't think this one through ahead of time, but let's just say print a fancy banner, and I don't have an existing script to print a fancy banner, but I'm going to hit enter anyways, and the default behavior is to generate the script. Okay, so it generated the script. It's very nice, very on topic. Welcome to Binary Ninja.
So it's both search and generator essentially.
Yeah, if it's not there, then it's going to go off and generate the code for you. Now, what you'll see on the right-hand side that I didn't talk about before is this is where you're going to have a dialogue about the code that you're writing and the analysis that you're doing with the assistant. So I asked it to print a fancy banner, and it says, okay, I added a function to print a fancy banner using Python's print
It's kind of like a high-level log message, like it's the what the thing was thinking about or doing or actions it took or.
Yeah, and so when you want to interact with it, you can just add another message here, and then it'll make an update to the script. I'm sure people nowadays have seen these types of demos before, but the
Just keep making it fancier and fancier and fancier.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But just to show the user interface and how it's integrated into Binary Ninja, we'll go through that exercise.
Fancier means 2 chunks of text.
Yeah,
Ah.
so it added the current
wait.
date and time to the banner.
A cart.
What?
Oh, we gotta scroll down. There's more. There's more.
Yeah, there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, a cat. Oh, it's trying its very best.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Actually, no, it's just the escaping. Oh, it even was smart enough to escape it. I see. Nice.
but what's important here, and we'll see this again a little bit later, is that we have a history of these of what was generated for us.
Yeah.
So we can, when you're doing analysis, you're doing a lot of iteration. Some people, maybe you can sort of think of the idea of like a Jupyter notebook, but it's not really like that. Like there's just this need to be able to iterate, and there's a need to be able to go back and see what happened.
Yeah.
And be able to recover. So you can just kind of walk through the different versions.
And
Now,
it's similar to the chat before in the radio Sidekick feature, where in the chat assistant where you're asking questions and it navigates to the views that you were in, right? It's the same idea as it maintains that context of when I asked a question here, I asked it and it gave me this answer, and so I can click back in the chat to see it state. It's the same kind of thing applied here, except now we're looking at the state, not of the binary we're looking at, but of the code that it's been running.
Right. So, all right, so let's see. Let's try this. So I got this little script here. Let me try this other one. So you can put in, a regex or whatever, and when you're searching. So let me go to a function where we'll actually see something. Okay. So so I had typed in this thing, and actually the nice thing about this is that when you go back and look at the scripts that you've created, the ones that you maybe haven't executed in a while or whatever, all the information is
Context
present
up to
there.
them.
Context
Yeah.
is there,
Before and after, and
which is very, very useful. So at any rate, I had typed in this thing, highlight instructions that call stack pop bool or whatever, and and it did that. We'll run it. Okay, great. It highlighted it, and I said, okay. Previously, I had done this thing where I asked it to change it to yellow. Originally, the color was something different, and so you can, just like we did before, iterate through that process of getting exactly what you want. So. But the idea here is that the scripts can, use the full Binge API and interact with the user interface.
Yeah, like in the past, we had the indexers where you would ask it to generate an index, but it's kind of limited. You could only return points of interest that were found, which was still useful in that one. The code inset map I still think is a great feature.
Yeah.
But it wasn't built around the idea of either making changes or modifying things, like enhancing the analysis in other ways. It was really just meant for discovery of those POIs.
Right. Yeah, and so like here's an index, but the indexes are still here.
Yeah.
Right. And so here's an example of a script that utilizes the index and little ASCII art here for the number of blocks
by a logarithmic count.
Right.
That's cute.
So you see the large functions, you sort by it. And so the way that this works, we can just pop in here real quick, is that we have this context manager, open up an index and do whatever analysis that we want to do, and then we can just add entries to the index. And so that's how the indexers are structured in 2.0.
We do have a couple
Much
questions
more flexible.
about the scripts that we're running. Are they tied to the database, or is it like snippets stand in your user directory independent of the database? Are these more associated with a particular database?
These are in a database in the user directory.
Okay, so they're a not associated with this binary view. I could switch to another binary view, and they would also be available there, and I have like a history, and I could see the previous history of all those scripts there. Cool.
Correct.
And then the related question was, will this be running in the cloud, or is it also possible to run locally?
Right. So that's a great question. And actually, one of the motivations for what we're doing here is to be able to use large language models offline.
Yeah.
Now, there's always a hook, and the hook is that, and we'll kind of show you this actually very, very soon, which is that there's a lot of complexity that we're managing and to create the scripts and to create some of the machinery, more complex machinery that you're going to see, in order for you to be able to use the language models locally.
So you mentioned earlier language models, prompting language models, filtering the results of language models, and so some of those are local, and some of those are remote.
That's
I guess
right.
would be a fair way to say it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So let's drop into that now and work through this exercise. So we were given this little malware sample from Josh Reynolds at InvokeRE.
Hi, he's on the chat, by the way. Hey, Josh, I saw you earlier. Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, and so so we took this binary and wanted to see what we could do with that. Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things about this binary is that let's see, this one doesn't have the symbols, but there's a string decryption function in here, and so the idea was like, okay, let's see how quickly we can get the decrypted strings out of this binary and see what's going on. So what I did was I wrote this little request that said, find the string decryption functions, and I had gone through some iterations here.
Can I see? I'm curious. I'd like to see so find string decryption functions, and it looks for the so it's prompt the LLM operator. You haven't actually talked about that concept yet. That's a useful.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into that. So the very first line of code in here uses this thing called an LLM operator, and an LLM operator is a functor, a class. But what's sort of magical about it is that you can just write plain natural language text to describe its functionality. Yeah. And so in this example, and I didn't write this, by the way, so this is the language model that's writing the code that knows about the LLM operator class.
So it's this higher level goal seeking LLM that's then prompting this LLM operator. Which part of those are local and which part of those are remote right now? How does that work?
So the construction of the LLM operator is remote, and the script writing is remote. The script executes locally. the actual application of the LLM operator to your binary is all local.
Okay.
So, but what's happening here is you get a kind of decomposition of the problem.
Yeah.
The language model that is writing the code knows that it has access to this operator, which makes otherwise tedious tasks a lot easier to express, right? So if you were to write in BinjaScript, is this function a string decryption function? It's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to maybe write a whole bunch of pattern matching,
look
like
for XORs maybe,
Right, exactly. And so the language model that's writing the code is, would run up against the same difficulty. And so it says, but I've got this little magical language model operator. So if all I have to do is describe what I'm looking for, and then I can just call this thing, then sure, I can write this script for you. So, so that's basically what has happened here, is that we have this new functor is string decryption.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're opening up an index because that's where we want to put the results. I don't remember, one of these scripts, I was like, it was printing things out to the screen. I was like, no, I want this in an index, and then I revised it.
It's not a whole lot of prompts. It looked like it was maybe 4 or 5 prompts total on the right, or clarifications.
Yeah, and we're at the very beginning of this approach, and so the ability to one-shot things, or do it in just a couple of iterations. Actually, the real goal is not to eliminate.
No, I was going to say that's not a bad thing
We're
at
not
all.
there.
I think that's fascinating, and it's like you can just clarify. That's completely fine, right? Like,
yeah, the reality of this is or the benefit of it is in how quickly you can get things done. Not that it's fully hands off.
Yeah.
And for me, I decrypted the strings, and it's like, that's not something I would normally do.
And it's not a pass fail, right? It's you were close, but you outputted it. I want it as an index. Oh, you were close, but you included the places where that function was called. I just want the functions themselves. Collect just or what you can clarify.
Yeah.
As you go along.
Absolutely.
And get closer and closer.
So I'm just gonna show you that here is where this functor is being called, and so it grabs this result, and then it adds it to the index. So let's run this thing. So I'm going to bring up the indexes sidebar. I'm going to let's see, we're on the stripped binary. We haven't run anything on this yet. I'm going to hit run, and in the output console right now, there's some of the debug stuff. This is actually showing you a little bit about the prompt that it's sending in to the language model that it's using. And okay, so we got our first answer up here, which is definitely the case. This is early on in the function list.
Yeah, a mod and a hard-coded fixed string.
So now, what's really cool about this is that when I typed that in to find this string encryption, the language model wrote the code that says, is this function a string decryption algorithm? And then the real magic is behind the LLM operator. And it automatically prompted the language model to give details like, well, name the algorithm, because that would be interesting. Go ahead and put the key in there.
Key.
And then maybe the rationale. Yeah. Right. So, and we can see the details there.
Daniel does have a good question though, which is, LLMs are notorious for like the results changing every time you run them. Do you have to worry about that with the LLM operator, where like maybe its behavior is not consistent, or is that not something that we've...
So the LLM operator, so this is a really good question, and there's some more details here that we can delve into, but it's actually, so when the machinery that is implementing the LLM operator is actually looking at the code in which the LLM operator is called, because the code that gets generated.
It knows what to return based on seeing how that function gets called. That makes sense.
Right. So if you call and you are using this result and you're checking some field like is string decryption,
it knows to be able to put that field there.
Now it can use that
that's cute.
to figure out how it needs to structure the output.
Yeah. It's reminds me of like a CS test, right? Where they stub out a function, they ask you to write that function. Like that's basically what it is. And you go through, you find all the usages of it, and then you fill in the gaps. Like that's exactly what it's doing.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because we already have the function that we're interested in. But yeah, so so to the question.
Yeah. Randomizer, different results.
It's almost like incremental compilation, what we're doing. Because when you see this phrase inside of the constructor to the LLM operator class, is this function a string decryption function and blah, 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 and do all this stuff, right? It's building up this specification, and we'll take a quick peek at that a little bit in a little bit. But the question is, if you make a modification to that code, is that specification still valid or not? So we actually have to check, and we look at the code, and we look at the schema that the operator is currently working with and the prompting and so forth, and we look at what we've used before and what the modification to the script is, and we ask, okay, can we reuse the operator that we created previously? And we want to reuse it as much as possible because we want stability. Language models can absolutely change. So what we want to do is we want to use the language model that's creating this specification in a very sort of conservative fashion. So once we establish that language, once we establish that specification, we don't want to modify it unless we need to.
And so it's like, as you're saying, incremental compilation, you already have that compile unit. It hasn't been touched. Next time, it doesn't have to be regenerated. You're just going to reuse the existing one.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Yep. So anyhow, yes, we did find this thing. And so the next step in the process, and I just kind of
you all tags there with the to make it easy to find.
Oh, I know what I did too. Let's see. I also had done this previously, and I'm not going to show this step, but I had used the assistant, and I had looked at this decryption function, and we've kind of seen this before.
Yeah,
but,
just the chatbot asked it to rewrite. Actually, we literally did that thing on the 4.0 stream. We asked it to rewrite a function.
So writing this function in Python, but here's what's a little bit different than what we could do before with the indexers.
Yeah.
Is that decrypt all the strings. I was able to paste that function into the window here, and then incrementally.
Start with that.
Yeah. So I was like, use
decrypt.
I pasted in there, and I was like, okay, use this function to decrypt all the strings.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then it went and generated a script that uses the function that I had provided. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, so let's see. So, I went through a few iterations on this as well.
Yeah.
But the things that I had to fix were easy.
Trim. Yeah, you mind showing us some of the results? I think that's actually really useful. Trim the 0 bytes from the array before returning.
Yeah, that was one that.
Medium level L is one probably that will. It seems like something we tend to use it. I imagine we just need to prompt better internally almost, because that was something that we generally almost always write your default is almost always MLIL anyways on a lot of these scripts for automation purposes. So that makes sense as one that we might not have to do again.
So anyway, so let's run this real quick. And so to be clear, there's no LLM operator being used in this script.
Yeah, we used it to iterate on the existing script. We're not the operator. We used the assistant rather on the side.
We used the assistant on the side. The LLM operator was used in the last one to find decryption functions.
Yeah, we don't need it anymore.
And I don't know if I showed this, but like it identified the type of algorithm. It identified the key that was used. And so forth. Okay, so we run this, and now we have a new index called decrypted strings, using that function that we had passed in. So here we go. And if we combine that with something like the code insight map. Let me drop this out of the way here for a little bit. Let's see.
Those functions.
Try PHP.
Not trying your topic.
Oh, yeah, I have to turn on the topic here. Throw a little bit of depth to it. And let's it's a little bit small, but anyways, what you can see is that we got this subroutine here.
Yeah.
Where we've got service status .1, we've got a URL, we've got parameters to the URL. This stuff is very obviously it's very recognizable.
Yeah.
Got antivirus over here.
Yeah.
In this section.
You can just name that function right now, like detect AV.
Yeah.
Right. Like clearly that's what it's doing.
So anyways, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And what else?
One thing you mentioned earlier is we were going to talk about the internals of the LLM operator.
Oh, sure.
For that too, real quick.
Yeah.
So that was back under find the decryption function.
Yeah. So let's I'll just rerun this because it'll just be easier to correlate the specific operator that was used.
Okay.
For running this. Let's see.
And yeah, Daniel, I agree. I think the Code Insight map is probably one of my as much as all the cool new AI stuff really is blowing me away. Like I think that the Code Insight map just as a new paradigm for RE is super interesting. And as kind of Daniel highlighted that, but it's also, to be clear, anybody with a Binge license can use that feature without any of the AI stuff right now. You can already write your own indexes. Now you have to already know the API. You have to already know kind of what you're looking for. This stuff takes it to the next level where you can just ask the models to do it for you. But yeah, I still think that's a fantastic interface. And we have actually just, we have been talking about how we would integrate the Code Insight map into the core, both performance and just as a useful feature beyond even just Sidekick. So that's something that at some point we'd like to do, I think. But yeah, that's super useful.
Okay, so at the bottom here, when we have run our script, we get some execution details. So it will tell you things like the total time that the script took, but here it also tell you about the operator, the language model operator that was used. So there's a unique identifier associated with each one, and you can see that it used GPT-4o. Now, I'll talk about this in just a second, but you can see other details like number of input and output tokens, how long it took, etc. And then we can say view LLM operator, and that takes us to this other sidebar over here, which allows us to sort of delve into the details of the prompting, and then also to even be able to modify that if we needed to. So this is what was generated behind the scenes for the LLM operator class. So given a task, it generates a list of context. In this case, it was pretty simple. It just needed a code excerpt. So we have several different kinds of input context that that the language model can choose to bring in and apply to the task. So some of those are the strings that are present, or information about the architecture of the platform, sections, segments. It can pull in code, it can pull in data, it can pull in other indexes, etc. So, and it makes the decisions about what to pull in.
Now Daniel asked, is this just a GPT-4o or a tuned version of it? My guess is it's actually just GPT-4o. The interesting part is not so much the model, but all the work that goes into those input variables, the prompt. That feels like where most of the work
in this particular case. This is you'll see that the type is user model. So a user model, it just means that you get to define what language model you're using. And I'll show you that in just a second as well. So if you look at this list right here, you actually can, I populated it with 6 models just to test some things out. So there's a Llama 3 model that is, running on Ariel.
Our internal infrastructure.
Our internal infrastructure. You got GPT models, you've got Anthropic models, and then this one is actually one that will run on the laptop. So it's using the MLX accelerated library to run completely locally. So these are when we construct the language operator, LLM operator, it's deciding which one of these it should use for the task. So if we come over here basically you just have a user models JSON file in your
cool.
user directory where you define what resources you have available.
I'm glad you don't have an API key on screen because those are a pain to clear.
No, I
Yeah.
don't really want to put
Good,
those
good,
in
good,
the
well done.
file.
Yeah.
And you can add your own description. You could say this model is particularly good at classifying symbols, or this model is really good at finding, buffer overflows, or what have you. And so then based on the task, the LLM operator is going to choose the most appropriate model, and it's going to take into account things like the context window and the description, that describes.
Even cost potentially, right? Like
Yes.
if once something's cheaper but good enough to use that, don't use the more expensive model for a really voluminous query or whatever.
Right, and if there were any special instructions in how to instruct the model, you could include those in the description as well.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just like, let's not just program Python for you, let's also program the language models for you, so that you can get your work done faster. It's really kind of the bottom line. So in here we can see the instructions that were generated. Again, I didn't generate any of this stuff. I just typed in the task. So all of the details here about common algorithms include XOR, bit rotation, substitution, etc., and all these things that help prime the language model to give good results were done for you. So you don't have to learn how to be a prompt engineer anymore. And then it also generates the output schema, and the output schema again takes into account how that language
the context, how it's being used. It's a little bit like when you ask the model to generate a prompt to feed another model to make an image. It's like a much more advanced form of that, right? Like it's able to not just give a little bit of language, but a whole structure and code and context and the schema and everything around it, which is super cool.
So to answer Daniel's question, the models that are writing the code and the models that are doing the prompt engineering are on the Sidekick server.
So these are actually, this is actually an enhancement to Sidekick and will be a part of Sidekick 2.0. To your other question about Sidekick Offline, that has been and remains a priority for us, that we still are trying to build up a version that will work. And so this, you can see part of it here, right, where you can prompt a local model, you could prompt a different model, but again, all of the structure around this still came from our infrastructure. And at some point, yes, we would like the ability to let other people have a whole Sidekick in a box that they can drop on their network to do all this different stuff, and that's
I mean, where this gets you is this gets you to the place where maybe you don't mind disclosing the type of analysis that you're doing. Like if you're looking for bugs, it's like, oh, okay, that's not that revealing.
Right. But the file is
we don't
not sent. The source code is not sent. The decompilation is not sent. All that can run on your local model on your box.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like a hybrid approach that is again. We are still working on full offline. We know for some customers that's the only way they can use it. But this is a much more sort of privacy-preserving way of doing it.
And it's also a way of handling both custom language models as well as bandwidth as well as cost. Right? So like if you decided that, I just want to process, 100,000 functions. Well, you're probably not going to do that through the Sidekick service because there's going to be some limitations on that, right? But if you said, well, you know what, I don't mind spending, however much money that is, I can
my
spend
own
$100
instance,
bucks,
or I have my own hardware locally that I'm going to
right, exactly.
run on.
So you have that flexibility. So we know that LLMs are proliferating, and this is a way to be able to gain access to the best and apply them to any task. So it's not like we have to have a suggestions sidebar for your specific analysis. It's like, no, we're giving you a way to automate the process of using language models, so you don't have to do so much coding and you don't have to do so much prompt engineering, and you just get to apply that sophistication. Like I said, I did this string decryption thing on a binary, and it's like, I don't
it's not your forte.
That's not I wouldn't normally enjoy that process, but this was so painless. So anyways,
so I think you had one more. I saw so you found all the functions. We decrypted all the strings, and then there was maybe a third one that kind of wraps it up.
Yeah, it was just the only reason why I did it is because it was easy. Is I just said rename the data variables according to their decrypted string. Where's linear view?
Later.
Okay, because I went through the code and I was like, oh man, that's great that it's decrypting and I have a list of decrypted strings over
that doesn't
here,
help you
but
get context
in
on that.
linear view, it doesn't really help me a whole lot. So it was like, okay, rename data variables or whatever. And so, kind of wrote the script here. And so now when you look at they've just been renamed to the strings, to the decrypted strings. So we were able to, how did that work? Did it read the,
It extracts constant pointers, like it's a string pointer, so there's a data, and it's going to get the data var.
Oh, it's reading the index.
Yeah.
So it's reading this decrypted string index, and then it's going through the instructions, and then basically finding the data variable, and assigning the data variable.
And it knows how to use traverse, which is that's a high tier API to use. It's perfect.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the final step, and now you have, some disassembly where at least you have some indication of what each parameter to this URL is and so forth.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Any questions from the stream? That's our last major announcement. Like I said, we had a big old list of 4.1 features, and we were just so excited internally. We wanted to get you out an even kind of early look. We'll bring out this new 2.0 feature more later, and we'll do much more interactive. We'll let you guys suggest things and try things as we get closer to releasing it kind of publicly. Yeah, so very cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I know this is a long stream. A lot of folks stuck through it, so we appreciate it. Looking forward to getting this in your hands. If you know our normal routine, like I said, we've got a few more weeks till another week and a half, I think, till feature freeze. Then another couple weeks as we go through testing and code freeze, and we'll get out 4.1. You can always switch to the dev branch and use it there. But yeah, that's about it from us. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And if I can find the right option on my list, I'm just gonna hit the button over here. So thanks, Valgrind, Josh. Good to see you from all. Daniel, thanks for chiming in. We'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.